Madam, can you put up the PPT, please? Is it shown there? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yes. So the Ministry of Women and Child Development Department at the Government of India level is being dealt in Tamil Nadu as the Social Welfare Department, Social Defense Department, and Integrated Child Development Scheme Services. These are the three wings we have at Tamil Nadu, and each wing has its own specialities. Like the Department of Social Welfare, it has a commissioner, that is director is there, Madam D. Ratna IAS is holding the chief post, and we are working under her. And we have these specialities, that is the government programs, welfare programs for the women, like the women welfare schemes, child welfare schemes, non-meal program, senior citizen welfare, legislations, and third gender welfare. And we have the another wing, that is Directorate of Child Development Services, that is working under the mission director. Madam Amudavalli IAS is the head of that institution, and they are working for the lactating mothers, pregnant mothers, adolescent girls, and children below 6 years. This program is mainly for the health and nutrition of the women and children. And we have another department, that is Department of Social Defense. It deals with the children programs like the ICPS, that is Integrated Child Protection Scheme, child care institutions, adoptions, and children in conflict with law, and children in need of care and protection. These are the three departments which are working under the control of the Minister of Social Welfare, that is Madam P. Geeta Jeevan Geeta Jeevan is the Honorable Minister, and the secretary, principal secretary is the Thiru Shambhu Kalolikar IAS. And we have other three wings, that is, I told you already that the Department of Social Welfare is headed by Madam Ratna. Directorate of ICDS is headed by Madam Amudavalli. And we have the Department of Social Defense headed by Valarmati. So all three are women. So all the three women are doing very good job for the department. We will go into the main statistics of this. These are all the basic things which will tell you about the status of women and children. That is that the population of Tamil Nadu, it is based on the 2011 census, because we haven't got the 2021 census data yet. And 7.2 crore, that is 72.110 million is our population, and Indian population is 1.21 billion. The male and the female literacy for any program, we need the basic data on which we are conducting all the social welfare programs. That is, a male literacy is 86.77 as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. For India, it is 82.14, and for female, it is 73.44, and for India, it is 65.46. Totally, the literacy rate is 80% in Tamil Nadu and 74% in India. And we can see the sex ratio. Sex ratio is the main indicator which shows the importance and the percentage of women living in this Tamil Nadu as well as India. The sex ratio is 996 in Tamil Nadu, and in India it is 943. You can imagine that men and women are equal, but the percentage shows, even though it shows a meager difference, it says that female children are not welcomed by the family. So the child sex ratio is little more, much more worrisome because it is only 943. You can imagine when there are 1,000 male children, why not 1,000 girls? Why there is a disparity? It is all because of the communal issues, the communities which are not interested in having female children, and there are feticide, there are infanticide, and the women, they themselves are taught to prefer male children, and there are scan centers which they are not supposed to tell the sex of the child, but in spite of all acts, all regulations, they are giving hints about the sex of the child in the womb. Based on that, many of the female children are feticide. They get killed in the womb itself. So these child sex ratios shows a very alarming thing. And the IMR rate is 21 for Tamil Nadu. So these are the basic data which we rely upon for our programs. For any welfare programs, we need the basic data on which we program for the women and children. These are some of the major programs we are having in our social welfare department. That is nutritious meal program. Nearly 2,109 crores is being spent every year. This scheme caters to the needs of children in the primary and upper primary. In Tamil Nadu, we are the pioneer in starting this nutritious meal program. You might be knowing about Puratchi Thalavar MGR. He was the one, and before he could start this noon meal program, when the Justice Party was in power, they started the noon meal program. They wanted the children to be in the school instead of being utilized as the child laborers or the female children to look after their siblings at home. And this Gurukula system was there. Only the higher castes were being given the education, and the lower castes, they were forbidden to go to school. So to remove all these social inequalities, the program of nutritious meal program was started by the Justice Party, and then it was introduced by Thiru Kamraj when he was the chief minister. And after that, the universal noon meal program was introduced in 1982 by Puratchi Thalavar MGR. So then the scheme itself is named after him only. So it is called as Puratchi Thalavar Noon Meal Nutritious Meal Program. For this program, we are spending a large amount, that is 2,109 crores is a big amount for the government of Tamil Nadu. And we are catering the needs of the poor children, those who are studying in the government schools, as well as aided schools. They do get the noon meal. And in the noon meal, we have the variety meals. For all those details, I will cover later. And we have the Integrated Child Development Scheme Services. This is another major program for the department that it is being spent nearly 2,236 crores. which is also a greater amount. And in that integrated child development scheme services, you might be knowing about the Anganwadi centers which are functioning in your villages. And we have nearly 50,000, more than 50,000 Anganwadi centers through which the nutrition and health services are being provided by the department to the adolescent girls, lactating mothers, pregnant mothers, and children below 6 years, 5 years. And you might be knowing and you might be seeing in the newspapers that Valekapu functions are being held. It is all for the motivation for the mothers to have a happy child. Valekapu is a community function being conducted for the welfare of the mother and the baby. So the child in the womb, it gets the vibration in its brain to have a good cognitive power. And you might be knowing in Mahabharata, they used to tell that Ashwathaman, he used to get the stories when he was in his home. So this culture is being followed by many of the families, even across the communities, across religion. They do have the habit of conducting Valekapu. It's a Bangal Mela like, in which the pregnant mothers are being taken care and she is given the moral support to have a good baby without any complications during her delivery. So there are another component, that is marriage assistance scheme. It is being implemented by the Department of Social Welfare. And you might be knowing about all these marriage schemes, that is Movalur, Ramamridam Ammayar Ninaivu marriage assistance schemes, Annai Teresa marriage assistance schemes, and intercaste marriage assistance schemes, and widow remarriage scheme, and orphan marriage scheme. These are the schemes, some of the schemes, 5 schemes we are implementing for the welfare of women. Marriage is an institution. So for giving importance for that institution, we are running this program, that is marriage assistance scheme, through which the children, that is female children, they are getting educated much more than what they desire for. If they complete their SSLC and get married after the age of 18, they will be able to get the assistance of rupees 25,000 as cash assistance and 8 grams of gold coin as a sovereign, 1 sovereign for their marriage expenses. And they are much more motivated if they get their graduation. If they are graduated and completed diploma, they will be able to get 50,000 and one sovereign. So these are some of the schemes which motivates the women to get educated. And we have the ultimate aim of reducing poverty, reducing dropouts, reducing female children getting dropped after their puberty, and much more than that, we are motivating them to get higher education too. So nowadays you can see the newspapers that pass percentage in the SSLC as well as +2, as well as degree, as well as in Anna University ranking and other things, more women are coming forward. So the situation has changed to such a level that women education is being motivated. It is an accepted factor. The community encourages, the family themselves, they too encourage the women to get educated. So at present, there is no much gender disparity that male children alone should get education and women should not get education. Like, no, there is no disparity in such a way that in all middle income, higher income, and even in lower income groups, children do get education, girl children especially. So all these marriage assistance schemes are being implemented by the department for the welfare of women, for their higher education, for getting their legal rights, and to get the marriage age get postponed because of their higher education. In order to avoid child marriages, if they get married soon after their matriculation or 10th standard, they'll be underage. The marriageable age for a girl is 21. But as per law, if they complete 18, they can get married. But all these programs are to motivate them to get their marriage age postponed. And we have the Girl Child Protection Scheme, another pioneer scheme which was introduced by our ex-CM, Madam Jayalalitha. And she was the one who dreamt about this scheme. And she inaugurated the Cradle Baby Scheme, Girl Child Protection Scheme, and integrated complexes for old persons and children. We have so many other welfare programs for the welfare of disadvantaged women, children, aged, and transgenders. And this is our allocation for the department. As an introduction, the women and children constitute 70% of the India's population. And all India child sex ratio among children under 6 is 919 for every 1,000 boys. This is as per the 2011 census. This data shows the gender-based violence towards girls after birth, infancy, early childhood, and adolescence in aspects of unequal access to health, nutrition, care, and education. These are the primary reasons which are the causes for the declining child sex ratio. And you can see, even now in rural areas, there are gender disparity. The male children are treated well, and girl children are always utilized as for housemaking and for household chores, for fetching water, for cleaning the house, for doing all other accessory works for the mother. But for the male, they are given the freedom of enjoying their life, not taking any responsibilities much at their home. If they are getting education, they can study and they can play if they are boys. If they are men, they can go to office and they can do their personal work. But for the women, but for the girls, they are given the responsibilities at home as well as in the community. The working women are double burdened. They do take care of their family, household chores, as well as their official work, and they do earn. In the earlier period, men used to go to different places to earn income for their family. So women were asked to be at home, take care of their children, take care of the elders. But in the recent years, men and women are doing equal work. They are getting equal salary. But the work is not equally divided between male and female. It depends on how we nurture the child. So every woman has the responsibility of nurturing the male child as well as the girl child. So while bringing up itself, we have to teach them both the works, household chores as well as outside work. Even the women can go and purchase. Why not? They will do better purchasing. So it all depends on the family and the mother. So you can see the difference between the Tamil Nadu and India in the last 6 decades. The difference in the decline in child sex ratio. See, in 1961, it was almost 976 in India and 995 in Tamil Nadu. But you can see the declining trend in the national status. It is 918 in 2011, and we are somewhat better. In Tamil Nadu, we have the 943. But there is a cause of concern that we need to give importance for this, because there will be a time that men may not get the women to get married. This Sita, Raman, this culture may change, because for 1,000 men, we have only 943 women. The remaining 57 are missing. So either that 57 men should not get married, or should have some other means. So this is a serious trend which we need to address. So as I explained you already, we have the innovative scheme, that is Cradle Baby Scheme. In 1992, when the ADMK period was there, Madam J. Jayalalitha was there as the Chief Minister. She had concern for the babies which are thrown out. There are unwanted babies. There are unwed mothers who didn't want to have their child. This is not particularly for female children alone. There are male children also who were thrown out in the bushes, in unwanted places, or they'll be just kept in the church or temple. Likewise, this Cradle Baby Scheme was an innovative scheme which was lauded by so many people, great people. They said it is a yeoman scheme which takes care of the children. And in the social welfare department, we used to keep the total It is cradles at the government hospitals, at collectorates, at district social welfare offices. Wherever the childcare institutions are there, we used to keep the cradles. In that, we asked the people, we created shouting, we requested the parents, the unwed mothers, the miscreants, that is the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, those who do not want the child, you please keep the child in the cradle so that the government will take care of the child. So many of the children were taken care, and those children are at present, they are having a very beautiful future, and they have good parents now because of adoption. Many childless parents, they have taken the children from the cradles as the treasure, which is an unwanted thing for another parent, but it was relished by some other couple. So the scheme of adoption, the scheme of cradle baby, which helped most of the children, those who were thrown out in cradles, in roadsides, in bushes, with all bruises. The district social welfare officers, they used to take the children to the hospitals first because they get infected. Sometimes dogs used to bite those children. So in that, some children were just thrown into the dustbin also. You might have heard many cases. Ruthless people, they, when they want the child, at present there are so many fertility centers because of the late marriages, because of the cultural change. The IT people, those who are postponing their institutional right, that is, marriage is an institution, family is an institution. They get married, but they don't want the child. Some decades back, our parents used to have 10 children. Then after that, it reduced to 5. Then due to family planning, it has got reduced to 2. Then they preferred only 1 child. Now the couple wants you are for me and me for you. So they don't want an addition. Sometime back, I heard a conversation in the FM. They were telling why nowadays the young people, they don't want to take any responsibility. They don't want any relationship. Even marriage, they don't want to get married. If they get married, they have to take care of their family, they have to take care of their husband, they have to take care of their wife. Why should we take care of so many? So we are happy, so we'll enjoy ourselves. So this is the mentality of the present youngsters. They don't want to take the responsibility of a family. They don't want to take care of the elders. They don't want to take care of their parents. Then the joint family system got disintegrated, and there is a cultural change. N number of old age homes are coming up, like mushrooming of kindergartens. Nowadays, we are having so many old age homes. And by 2030, we expect nearly 20% of the population are going to be above 60 years. So the present scenario is forcing the social welfare department to create a separate department for the welfare of aged in order to take care of the elders, in order to provide services for them, in order to get redressal of their grievances and other things. So there is an idea of upcoming department of the welfare of the aged, separately for the welfare of the aged. So this is the present scenario which enables the department to plan for the welfare of women, children, aged separately, and we do have the welfare of transgender also in our programs. So this is the Girl Child Protection Scheme, which I have already explained to you. This is to promote the parents to get fertilized, not fertilized, sterilized before 35 years of age. That is for the women and men. This is in order to promote family planning as well as to promote girl children. If they have one girl child and the mother or father, if they get sterilized, that child, single female child, will get a deposit amount of 50,000, which will be getting matured as rupees 3 lakh when she attains the age of 18 years. If the mother and father, either one of them, after having 2 girl children, if they get sterilized, on each girl child will be depositing an amount of 25,000 each. That will be around 1.25 lakh when they attain the age of 18 years. This maturity amount will be distributed for their higher education, for their marriage, or for doing any other business after completing their school education. This is also another added value, which is called the Girl Child Protection Scheme. It's being implemented since 1992. You can see the basic criteria which are given for this scheme in which they can get benefited. It is to prevent gender discrimination, to protect rights of girl children, to ensure for education at least till high school, to prevent child marriages, to promote small family norm. This financial assistance to the families are given after they complete the 10th SSLC education, and so far 10,15,975 beneficiaries got the benefits out of this scheme. So you can see the benefits. I need the organizers just to give a feedback whether I'm going very slow, whether I'm giving the right thing, and whether all are connected or I'm talking to myself. Just please respond me, any one of you, please. Anyone, please. Even the participants can say. Do we have the participants? Can anyone respond, please? Hello. Hello.
Participants, unmute your mic and please answer the question.
It's fine, ma'am. You can continue. It's going well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is another scheme that we have, the Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao scheme. This is the Government of India scheme, which is mainly implemented in, as a pilot scheme, it was introduced in 100 districts, and then it was made as an universal scheme. The basic criteria is the child sex ratio. In the beginning, as a pilot scheme, Kadalur was started as the pilot scheme district for the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme implementation. This is nothing but protect the girl children, teach the girl children, educate them. So all these schemes are to motivate the parents to have female children, to prefer female children, and get them educated well and take care of them properly. So under this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, the district, when the district Kadalur was selected, the district collectors they were the heads of those districts. They took the scheme in a positive manner, and they introduced many innovative methodologies to encourage girl children. So in all this Beti Padhao scheme, Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao scheme, all district collectors, they were so motivated. They encouraged the panchayat presidents to have awareness sessions in order to create awareness. They brought all the panchayat presidents and they trained them. They gave them training, they gave them awareness, and they instilled in their minds that to follow every girl child. Not even one child should be left out without any identification. So each and every pregnant mother, those who are having the first child or second child, and the most care was given to the second gravida, because for the first child, if they have the first girl child, they'll be okay. When they have the second girl child, sometimes there are tendency for infanticide in order to get a male child. So when the presidents were given awareness, they were searching for the girl children, and they themselves will visit their house and give a sapling and give a gift box, and they will give citations like, so all these things they were doing, and they were giving awareness through Guda Gudi board. It is in their village, in the entrance, they will give the information that in their village they have so much of population and they have these many girl children, these many boys. So this Guda Gudi board was they kept in order to create awareness. So every child born in that village will be known to the whole village. So the pregnant mother will be taken care and she will be watched whether that child is born in the institution or if there is any home delivery, they'll be informed to the VHN, village health nurse, and she will get the motivation to get nutritious food. And these gift boxes are being given through the social welfare department as well as the health department. Sorry. So this in some villages, the presidents, they used to visit their village where there is a girl child born in that family. They'll give gifts to the mothers and other things. And the school education department, it looks after the children's, female children's literacy, and mainly girl children, those who are attending puberty, will be followed up, and creating good facilities, that is toiletries and other things, restrooms for the girl children in order to continue their education after puberty. So all the government schools were provided with water facility, proper toilets for girls and boys separately, and the distribution of sanitary napkins were provided, and there are boxes, and for incinerators were provided in the schools. So these are some of the schemes which are very minute, but it is very sensitive. When these facilities are not provided in the schools, especially in government schools, girls, when they attend puberty, they remain at home, maybe during that menstrual period, or sometimes because of that, there are girl children, those who drop out after puberty. So all these needs are to be met by the education department. And in the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan scheme and other schemes related to education, they do provide all these facilities. So in any living situation, there is important, that is, there should be good drinking water, good toilet facilities, and disposal for their menstrual thing and other things. So this personal hygiene has to be taught for all the children. And the gender education is a must for all male and female children. So nowadays, during this pandemic, we have heard more about this domestic violence, cruelty for women, for the households, in the households, and many child abuse, sexual abuse of women, pornography, and gang rapes and other things. So these are certain things, the major difficulties which are to be dealt stringently. Because of all these things, the women get themselves depressed and they drop out from their schoolings, and their education get affected, and their moral fear, they make them to be depressed, and they don't show interest in their higher education or anything, any of their social life. So all these things we need to address. For these things, we are implementing this mainly for the child sex ratio, to improve the child sex ratio. Under this scheme, we do have the stringent action against the scam centers, which are giving a hint about the sex of child and other things. So stringent punishments are given for the doctors, and the scan centers are getting closed. They are sealed. So major punishments are also being given to these centers. So this scheme got expanded in all the remaining districts. Wherever the child sex ratio was low in that area, this scheme was implemented. And especially in Tamil Nadu, we have the Ariyalur, Dharmapuri, Namakkal, Salem, Perambalur, Viluppuram, Tiruvannamalai, Tiruvarur, Tiruvallur, Tiruchirappalli, Chennai. And in other 21 districts also, we are having this advocacy programs, awareness programs, through which this scheme is being implemented. So these are some of the activities under the Beti Bachao scheme, Beti Padhao. Training of stakeholders of the field functionaries, sensitization programs, placing Guda Gudi boards, advocacy campaigns, events, celebrations, outreach programs. Then linkages with the NYK, SHGs, field publicity, and effective implementation of PCPNDT Act, enabling girl child education, and celebration of Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao Day every 7th of a month. Then we have the Social Welfare Department is the department which implements the various social legislations like the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. So you might be knowing about this act, that any child, that is for the girl if she is under 18, for the boys if they are under 21, if they get married, it is a child marriage. It is objected and it is prohibited by law. So this Marriage Act, Child Marriage, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act is a major work of the Social Welfare Department. And we have the district social welfare officers at the district level, and they are nominated as the child marriage prohibition officers. And we have the extension officers of social welfare and rural welfare officers at the block level. They are functioning under the control of the block development officers, which is the Panchayat Development Office, Panchayat Union. So this act is to ensure that child marriage is eradicated in the society. Whomsoever, even if they attend the marriage, if they if they do any preparation for that, if they participate in that, if they perform the marriage, whomsoever it may concern, if they are involved in the child marriage, they are punishable under the law. So this is a law which is being implemented in order to curtail the menace of child marriage. So in order to curtail this, we need to educate the parents. When we ponder the reasons, why do they get the child married so early? When the parents are asked, they used to say that we don't want to get the child get eloped or get married to some other caste, or when they go out for their job, they are unable to take care of their children. And there are some rare cases because of their property and other things. They don't want to lose their property. They want them to get married in their own relations. So in order to ensure these, we are creating awareness. We are filing FIRs. We are getting punishments for the parents, and we get those child victims, that is those who are getting married, we detach them from their families and keep them in the childcare institutions until they attain the age of 18 and give them the continued education, skill training, and other things through the social welfare department. So in order to help the children, in order to give a facelift for the children, those who are working for the community, there are children, those who themselves become the spokesperson for their own peer group, and those children get nominated for this award. And every year we are giving the award of cash prize of 1 lakh for under 18 girls, those who work for the cause of children. And we do give the awards for the best performing districts also. First 3 districts, those who are showing good improvement in the child sex ratio, are being awarded every year. And these are the marriage assistance scheme, which I have already explained, that daughters of poor women, daughters of poor widows, orphan girls, widow remarriage, and intercaste marriage. These are the 5 marriage assistance schemes, which are the flagship schemes of the government of Tamil Nadu. And we are spending nearly 762 crores on this scheme. So the cash assistance is 25,000 for non-graduates and 50,000 for the graduates, along with 8-gram gold coin. So far, from 2011-12, we have given benefits to 13,59,078 beneficiaries. This is another wing we have, that the State Resource Center for Women. This is a Government of India sponsored program, which is a national mission, and the fund sharing pattern of Government of India and Tamil Nadu is 60-40. And we do have awareness programs, then programs like capacity building, skill training, and conducting awareness through forums and other things. And now we are giving importance to the drawing up of this gender women policy, state level women policy is being drawn this year. And this is another thing, that Women Helpline. This is also a sponsored program for the Government of India. This is a universal code, not universal, it's a nationwide. This number can be used by any woman. Those who are getting, if they are victims of any violence, even if they want to know any help from the government, or to get a temporary stay, or to get a medical help, or if they are victims of domestic violence or communal anything, any woman at any age, they can approach this number, in which there is a 24/7 helpline is there, through which the women are given the solutions, and they are referred to the one-stop centers. It is a convergence center which is located in all the districts. There are victims of domestic violence or any other stalking, gang rape, any woman, those who are trafficked, other women also, they can have a stay in the one-stop center. It is a Sakhi Sahodari like, it's a sister concern like. So in that they can stay, they can get the legal help, they can get the medical help, They can get their skill training, they can get their motivational, other counseling, other things also. So these are the services provided through the 181. So even police help also you can get. And in Tamil Nadu, we have the Kavalan app. Might be knowing about this. There is a Kavalan app, police app, through which the women are connected. The women, any age group, can have this app downloaded in their Android phones or iPhones, any phones, and they can get the immediate help of police when they are being threatened, while they are being stalked, or for anything, any help. So this is the one-stop center. It's a scheme called Sakhi. There are 34 one-stop centers all over Tamil Nadu, and separate buildings are being built for this. Each costs 48 lakh, and it's being situated in the general hospitals of every district. And we have the staff for that, so they'll be helping you. And so far, we have 18,181 cases got registered in these one-stop centers, and we have addressed the issues of women and various services like medical assistance, police assistance, legal support, psychosocial counseling, short stay, shelter, and information related to government schemes are being provided to the needy women. And we have the Mahila Shakti Kendra. It is another Government of India program. And this also has the awareness programs for the women about the government schemes and about their health, nutrition, and other things. And this is another act, Social Legislation Act, which is being implemented by the Department of Social Welfare. And for any organization which has more than 10 employees, we should necessarily have this internal compliance committee. So in any organization, whether it is organized sector or unorganized sector, any mills or any shops, any organization which has more than 10 employees, they must have this internal compliance committee where the men and women work together. So this committee, this act emphasizes to have an internal complaints committee. When the women face any harassment in their workplace, they need to give a complaint. And in that committee, more than 50% of them will be women, and they will address the issue immediately. This act is being implemented by the department, and we are getting the reports about the formation of the internal complaints committee as well as the issues addressed by these committees. So in every college also we should have a committee. Hope you people will be having a committee like this. If you have any doubts about this, you can approach the social welfare department for any help. So as I already told you that we have the third gender welfare board, which is being functioning under the control of social welfare department since 2008. This is another unique effort taken by the government of Tamil Nadu. It is the pioneer state which introduced this transgender welfare board in the nation. Across the nation, we are the first one to start. And under the chairmanship of the social welfare minister, we have the official and non-official members. And we do give We do issue identity cards and we help them through, and we have created a separate app for the registration of their membership in this. All transgenders, those who are residing in Tamil Nadu, can register themselves in the separate app which is created. Now it is Moonram Pal. That app is being called as Moonram Pal. It's a third gender. So in that app, they can register themselves. In Government of India, there is a separate, they have also introduced a separate app. In that also they can register. While they get registered in this board, they get the identity card, and from the board, during the COVID also we have given assistance. 2,000 each for them, twice we gave. And through the social, this transgender welfare board, we are giving residents, that is this Indra Awas Yojana built houses are being given. Like any other poor citizen, they do get the housing facility under this scheme. And we do motivate them to get themselves engaged in economic activities so that they can get their livelihood. So up to 50,000 for each person is given through this transgender welfare board. And they do get the health card, the ration card, then health insurance card, then they get all the benefits. And for skill training and other things, we ask them to register themselves in the app. And for economic activities, we give them up to 50,000 each to start a small business, to have a decent life. So these are some of the activities we have already given to them. And the present government, the newly formed government, has given the free pass in the free bus pass. So they can travel inside the districts, that Chennai Corporation buses, they can move around, and in the districts also. And we have the working women hostels throughout the state. At present, we have 28 hostels, and we are planning to have much more hostels. And these government hostels are being provided for the urban area. It is 300 rupees per month, and 250 in the rural areas. It is the rent they do pay for that, for their stay. And for the food and electricity charges, dividing system is there. So the middle income groups, girls, working women can benefit out of this. And the present government has put forward that every district will have a working women hostel. Because nowadays women are highly educated and they do get jobs and they do move around. So they need a safe stay for their job. To ensure their economic empowerment, we are providing the stay facility for them through this working women hostel facilities. And we have a corporation for that. The Tamil Nadu Working Women Hostel Corporation Limited is formed, and through which we are constructing hostels in almost all districts now. So these are the Independence Day awards we gave. These are all some of the motivating factors which we instill in the minds of the public to work for the welfare of women, children, and other things. So the Best Institution Award, the Best Social Worker Award, and the Avayar Award, all these awards are being given to the best performers every year during the Women's Day or in the Independence Day. So this is another social legislation act, that is Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. This is an unique act which has special features like the women victims, that is, for any police case, first information report will be filed. But for this, in this act, we file domestic incident report, that is, within 4 walls. If anything happens to the woman because of her husband or relatives of husband in the in-laws house, or even in her own house, if she is affected, if she is aggrieved, she can complain to the protection officer, who is very much available in every district. Under this act, the speciality of the act is they can get the relief within 60 days. Even other cases are in the courts relating to the property or divorce or any other thing, they can get the relief through this act. So multiple judgment can be given through this act. That is, if a married woman, if she is the victim of domestic violence, if she is thrown out of her in-laws place, she can claim to be there in her in-laws house. So she can get the residence order, she can get back her Sridhan articles, she can get custody of her children from her husband, and she can get maintenance from her husband for medical help, for maintenance, and other things. So the husband is supposed to keep the maintenance under this act. So based on the domestic incident report, which is filed by the protection officer in every district has, it will be filed in the sessions court and get the order based on this act. So the protection officer will be the mediator between the victim and the judge. And judges, they are supposed to give importance in these schemes, and they need to give relief to the aggrieved women within 60 days. So there is another act, that is Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. The district social welfare officers working under the control of the social welfare department are the nominated officers for the dowry prohibition. So as per the Supreme Court order and the High Court of Madras, the district social welfare officers are made as the officer to authenticate the dowry cases. Before the introduction of the Domestic Violence Act, all dowry cases, even if it is domestic violence, it will be booked under the dowry prohibition. But dowry prohibition has very stringent laws, stringent punishments, rather than the domestic violence. Under the Domestic Violence Act, they will get the relief. They might go together and get themselves adjusted after some time. But when the dowry cases are there, the husband, the in-laws, they'll be put into jail, and there won't be any reunion of the families. So nowadays, as per the court directions, when they book the cases under the dowry prohibition, they are supposed to get the report from the district social welfare officers. and they will have the inquiries conducted, and they will give a specific report saying that dowry is made out or dowry is not made out. So based on this only, these cases are nowadays filed against the groom and his family. So this is another important act which comes under the Social Welfare Department. And we have the another sector which I have already explained you, that in 2030 we expect 20% of all our population will be above 60 years. For that, we need a separate directorate of aged to take care of the elder persons. So at present, we have old age homes with the state grant of 21 homes. And these integrated complexes, 44 homes are there. These integrated complexes are nothing but the aged people as well as the children will be together in a same complex. There will be give and take. There will be a binding relationship between them, and they'll help each other. So this integrated complex, this concept has picked up so well, and children enjoy their grandparents' love from the elders, and the grandparents, those who are living in the homes, they do expect the love and affection of their grandchildren. So this complex, which provides stay arrangements, food, and everything for the elders as well as children, are fulfilled through these integrated complexes. And we have other integrated programs for senior citizens through the Government of India schemes. That is, there are mobile care units, there are physiotherapy units, and other care homes for the elders. So all these institutions are to be the last resort, because institutionalization is not the first come first line. It should be the last thing, because the family cannot be compensated by any institution. So the relationship between the family members should be entertained. So in all these state-run homes, we do care for 40 elders in every home, and 1,200 per month is being given for their food and other things. So 724 old age persons are being benefited through these homes. And through this integrated program for senior citizens, with the Government of India grant, we have the NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, are the pillars of this scheme. They implement the scheme. The department will do the monitoring and hand-holding support alone. So through these homes, 71 homes are there. And there are 1,200 senior citizens and 900 children get benefit in the integrated complexes. And we have another elder abuse, that is, grandparents, elders are to be taken care, and they should not be abused, and they should not get any bad treatment in their houses, and they should be taken carefully. So the younger generation need to have the habit of accommodating them in their homes, and they should give them respect and hear them properly and help them to get themselves accommodated in their own houses. So in order to educate the younger generation, the Elders Abuse Day is being observed on 15/6 every year. So you can see some of the homes which are functioning in our state, and the government is taking steps to keep separate clinics, separate geriatric wards in all the government hospitals, PHCs, separate queues for the old age persons, and geriatric units in the government college hospitals, and postgraduate training program for the MD geriatrics. So this is an award which was fetched by the government of Tamil Nadu during 2019. That is Vayoshrestha Samman Award, which is being presented by the president, being received by our secretary, previous secretary. Swadhar Graha. This is another program which is being run by the Social Welfare Department with the help of the non-governmental organizations. These are short stay homes which are functioning for the women, those who are aggrieved, those who are victims of domestic violence or any communal violence. As I said already, the gang rape or any other girl child, those who are eloped or not taken care by their parents. Any woman can approach this home, which is being run by the non-governmental organization funded by the government of India. So in these homes, they can stay for up to 5 years. So they can continue their education, they can continue their jobs, they can get skill training, they can get any help they need. If they want to run the case, they can get legal help, medical help, and food and stay will be made available for them in these homes. So there are 36 Swadhar homes which are functioning at present in Tamil Nadu, and for which the central is giving a share of 2 crore 87 lakh 43,666, and state grant is 4 lakh 4 crore 1 crore 91 lakh. So the total amount spent for this Swadhar Graha is 4.79 crore. These are the helplines we have in our department. That is 1098 is the child helpline, women helpline is 181, and senior citizen helpline is 14567. And for the nutritious meal program, if you want to make any complaint or any other thing, you can contact this number. That is 1800 425 8971. These are the helpline numbers through which you can get the connection and get your queries attended. Even if their complaints are given, it will be attended to. And this is the noon meal program, which I explained already, that we have 43,283 noon meal centers all over Tamil Nadu. And in that we have organizers, noon meal organizers, we have cooks, we have helpers. Nearly 1,28,130 noon meal employees are engaged in this program. Then 49.85 lakh children are getting benefited in this noon meal program. And we have the 5,530 national child labor special school children too. These are the number of centers and the number of beneficiaries for noon meal centers. This primary schools 26,810, 24,25,000 children are benefited. Upper primary is 9th and 10th, 16,210. NCLP is National Child Labour Project. 263 centers are there, in which 5,530 children are benefited. Totally 43,283, in which nearly 50 lakh children are getting benefited in this non-meal program. This is the genesis of the program. That is, in 1982 it started, further extended to urban areas in 15/9. Then the benefit of it went to 10 to 15 years children. Then one egg was introduced. Then Bengal gram, green gram, boiled potatoes were introduced in 2001. 5 eggs per week is introduced to 5 to 15 years children in 2010. Then variety meal scheme was introduced in 2013. Then it was extended to all over state in 2014. These are the Government of India norms. The Government of Tamil Nadu provides for each meal, that is 1 day per meal, per noon meal, these many calories, that is 450 calories and 12 grams of protein is being provided for each beneficiary. For the upper primary, it is 700 calories and 20 gram protein. This is the contribution of Government of India share and Tamil Nadu. Totally 2,109.11 crore is being spent on this scheme. These are some of the benefits given to the non-meal employees, which may not be of useful for you, I think. So we have the special program, another wing in Social Welfare Department, that Women Industrial Cooperative Societies. For the economic empowerment of women, we are having 124 women industrial cooperative societies in which women are the members and they are the board of directors and they are the beneficiaries. And we have 98 tailoring societies in which 4 sets of uniform which are distributed to the non-meal beneficiaries in government schools and aided schools are given uniforms. Those uniforms are stitched by these society women. And we have 25 winning food manufacturing societies, that is this nutritious Chattu Mavu through the Anganwadi centers are being given and prepared by these women. So in these societies, we do have the stitching of uniforms for the Ayadroda welfare schools, tribal welfare schools, backward class and most backward class minority school welfare beneficiaries also. These are the total number of societies and the number of members benefited out of these societies. So these are the eligibility criteria. 18 to 40 years women will be the members of these societies, and 4 sets of uniforms are being stitched by these women, through which 81.26 crores is earned and distributed to the members. This is another wing which I told you, that Integrated Child Development Scheme Services. This is implemented by the implemented through the Anganwadi centers. These are the centers which are catering to the needs of adolescent girls, pregnant mothers, lactating mothers, and children below 5 years. So this is the structure of ICDS. That is, there are 387 rural blocks. Main centers are 49,499. The districts, blocks, and urban areas, that is in municipalities and corporation areas, we have the separate offices. So there are mini centers. That is, for every 1,000 population, there will be an Anganwadi center. And below that, that is 200 to 500 population means there will be a mini Anganwadi center. And altogether 54,439 centers are there, through which the nutrition and health services are being provided for the women and children. So these are the beneficiaries. That is 6 months to 1 year children, complimentary food is given, that is Chattu Mavu. Then for the 1 to 2 years, complimentary food. Then 1 boiled egg per week is being given. For 2 to 6 years children, complimentary food, variety rice, Bengal gram, green gram 20 grams. Then 3 boiled eggs per week, banana for non-egg eating children, and hot cooked meal for the children. And for the pregnant women, lactating women, and adolescent girls, complementary food, that is, Chatmavu is being provided. This is being provided by the Rasi Nutri Foods, Rasipuram, and Christie Fried Gram Society. The blend is prepared by them and it is blended with the wheat by the society members, that is Weaning Food Societies, and it is packed and provided to the Anganwadi centers. So this is the mixed rice, what is provided in the Anganwadi center. This is the menu. So this is the beneficiaries, that is 7,28,565 pregnant women and lactating women are being benefited by the Weaning Food, and children. During this pandemic, dry ration was also given to the beneficiaries. Altogether, 11,71,468 beneficiaries got benefited under this scheme. This is the picture of Anganwadi Center. This is the composition of the Weaning food which is provided, that is Satamavu. These are the Anganwadi centers in which the joy of learning, that is kindergarten, is being given, teaching. This is the training strategy. State level, district level, and block level trainings are being given for the Anganwadi workers, supervisors, and district level officers. These are some of the photographs of early childhood care, that is the curriculum which is being dealt at the Anganwadi centers. These are some of the reading materials, activity books distributed to the Anganwadi centers. It's the training module. These are some of the Valegapu activities. As I told you, community baby shower event, that is nothing but Valegapu, Samudaya Valegapu. How people are engaged in all these programs. These are some of the awareness creation materials which are distributed through ICDS. This is the social defense. I told you another department is there with the social welfare, that is the children in conflict with law and the child care institutions are being dealt by the social defense department. Protection of children in difficult circumstances and fulfilling their needs for growth and development in a child-friendly environment and handholding them to attain self-sustainability. This is the vision of the Department of Social Defense. The Juvenile Justice Care. Juvenile Justice Care Act is the act for regulation of the child care institutions. Then POCSO. You will be very familiar with this act, that is POCSO. It is nothing but Protection of Children from Sexual Offence Act 2012. Under this act, at present there are much awareness, and children, those who are below 18, if they get affected, if they get abused by their family members, by anyone, they will be booked under this act. It is so stringent that even death punishments are being given. And under POCSO only, this pornography, this children below 18 years being gang raped, and elopement, child marriage, all these things are booked under this act only. Then Commission for the Protection of Child Rights, and we have the state level Child Rights Commission also, and Immoral Traffic Act is also being implemented by the Social Defense Department. The objectives of the scheme, the Department of Social Defense is to take care of this protection of child and child-friendly protection to child care institutions, children through child care institutions. Then rehabilitation of children, those who are in conflict with law. Then behavior modification and capacity building of the children. Aftercare programs for children leaving institutional care till they attain their 21 years. Prevention and rehabilitation of women survivors of trafficking. So this is the another program, another committee, that is juvenile justice boards. These juvenile justice boards, they act very swiftly whenever there is a child abuse, a child trafficking, or any other issues related to children. Those children, those who are abandoned, anyone, those who want to be institutionalized, everybody should be presented before this juvenile justice board. The board has to give the certificate to allow them to be institutionalized or do any other job or anything. So anything in relation to child care, this board is so important, and in every district there is a juvenile justice board in which they will be produced, and the board will decide on the future of the child, whether the child needs any care in the child care institution, or it should be sent back with the parents, or it should have any other skill training or any other thing, or any counseling or any legal help, anything which needs to be cared for that particular child is being decided by this juvenile justice board. There is a Tamil Nadu State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and Honorable Court of Madras is directly dealing with this committees and boards. And the vision for 10 years for the Social Defense Department is family-based programs as an alternative to institutional care. As I told you already, institutional care is the last resort for anyone, whether it is a child, whether it is a woman, whether it is a victim of violence, whether it is an aged or anyone for that matter. Institutionalization should be the last resort. And those marginalized, those victims, those beneficiaries should be taken care in the family situation, family institutions only. That is the best option. Then effective rehabilitation programs to curb children habitually committing crimes. That is, social defense is mainly working for the children, those who are against the law, those who are going against the law. So those who have conflict with law. So those children are taken care especially by this Social Defense Department. So to create child-friendly spaces, and institutionalization should be the last resort, and learning opportunities should be created for the children, and below 18 should be reintegrated after the age of 18. Up to 18 years, they are being taken care. After that, any skill training or any job opportunities, anything will be provided, and they will be reunited with their family. These are some of the institutions, government institutions. With the help of government, non-governmental organizations are running these institutions. Totally 1,084 institutions are there, in which 6,583 boys and 8,971 girls are being benefited in these homes, child care homes. So these are the observation homes, special homes, place of safety. These are the children, those who are against the law. You must be heard about this schools which are in which children against law, those who have committed sin or those who are punished by courts, will be accommodated in these homes. And these are the services provided in these child care homes, that is residential care facility, nutritious food and health care, clothing, education, counseling, recreation, sports, vocational training, and de-addiction. The adoption and foster care is being taken care by the Social Defense Department. These are the in-country adoption given during the 2018-20, 19-20, 2021. In-country, inter-country adoption. Inter-country adoption is very less because the physically challenged children alone are being given to inter-country adoption. Foster care is also being given. Rescue and rehabilitation. These are the children rescued. That is child trafficking, any other thing, those who are victimized or abused. All these children are being rescued and institutionalized. These many number of children. You can see the number increased in during 1920 and 2021. Maybe because of pandemic, there are more number of children. And these children are getting educated in 10th, 12th, and admitted to college, then nursing, and other things. These are the committees we have. In every town panchayat, municipal level, corporation level, they are having the child protection committees. This is the child line. As I told you already, 1098 is the child helpline, and the interventions given for various cases like child marriage 5,232 cases, physical abuse 1,567, child sexual abuse 747, child labor 1,332, child found begging 1,134, runaway 823, emotional abuse 524, substance abuse, that is addiction and other things 83, bonded labor 28, trafficking 55, abandoned child 69, others 539. Totally 12,130 children are rescued through this child helpline. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you, madam, for sparing your valuable time. The PowerPoint is very interesting. You have given excellent speech on this occasion. Very useful also. Just one question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to collaborate with institutions like us to conduct social service in neighborhood community? You have exposed a lot of awards for institutions.
Yes.
But is there any provision to conduct collaborative activity in the villages, adopted villages?
That you can have on your own, sir. That the collector, you can ask the collector and do the activity. If you need any help at the institution level from the department, we'll be able to help you.
Oh, it is according to the necessity only the state government can collaborate.
Yes. Because we don't know how many institutions will be interested in having this community activities like. So, and how many villages they are going to adopt and what kind of activity they are going to take up, like. So all these things you need to express. So in what way we can help, if we will be able to decide.
Okay, fine. Madam, I am Jagannathan Sivagasi. I have not introduced myself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hope I didn't bore you all.
Yeah. You have exposed almost all the possibilities of government service to the society.
Yeah, yes.
Participants, now you can interact with the madam for any of your doubt.
I think they would have slept. No. They would have slept after lunch.
some of them are interacting through the chat box.
Okay, okay.
They're saying that it is interesting. In the previous interaction also, they said it is very interesting.
Okay. If there are more questions, we'll be I hope so that they would have continued with my talk and listened to it. If they don't have any questions at all, I think they would have slept or they are not interested to ask anything like. I don't know whether it was useful or not. I don't know.
Very
If they
useful, madam.
respond- If they
It
respond,
is very useful.
it will be
What about the best college award? Whether we need to apply separately or you will identify it?
best institution award usually given for the NGOs, sir. But if you people are doing some other human service, you want to express something great, like you can also apply.
So in our college, we actually involve every department for this community service.
Okay.
So the management is actually allotting some fund for doing this activities.
Okay.
So it is happening for nearly 10 years. Every year, every department has to do at least 2 activities in a year.
But the thing is, the social welfare department is dealing with more NGOs, non-governmental organizations,
Oh.
those who are working specially for the women, children, aged, and other things. No, so the colleges may not get that much importance, as I feel. Yeah.
Okay.
If it is related to women, specifically, likewise, we'll be considering.
Okay.
Okay, Jepakumari, madam, can I wind up?
Yes.
Some comments are there. They are providing such as this information. Unfortunately, very nice session.
Okay.
Your session was very useful and informative, ma'am.
Okay.
Highly
But you have
informative.
given me the session after lunch. So sad.
At the time of fixing the date, you are busy with some other work, ma'am. You told us.
Okay.
Now you are now in a leave. That's why.
Okay. Thank you. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I don't know whether the other group enjoyed it. It was a nice opportunity given to me. I'm very thankful and I am pleased, and I thank the Mr. Jagan sir as well as the college principal and other authorities who have given me this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, it's a highly informative session, ma'am. We gathered the information from integrated child development, community service, and nutritious department. So wherever we can approach that information we gathered, ma'am, we are planning for that. That's why we are all keeping calm, I think so.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you have explained all the schemes in a clear manner, ma'am. It's really nice. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I close the session now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Participant, I will share the attendance link and feedback form. Kindly fill it and leave the meeting. Tomorrow we'll meet at 10 a.m. for the fourth day of the FDP. First session at 10 a.m. Thank you one and all for your cooperation and your support and your presence for the 3 sessions of today's FDP. Thank you once again.